What if tomorrow, you woke up and realized Earth's magnetic poles had suddenly flipped, compasses spin wildly, satellites blink out of service, and your phone's GPS insists you are in Antarctica while you are still in your bedroom? Sounds insane, right? But here's the truth: magnetic pole reversals are real, and they have happened many times in Earth's history. Before we dive into this wild thought experiment, take a few seconds to smash that like button, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from, and hit subscribe if you are truly ready to explore the strange survival game of a polar reversal. Now, buckle up, because things are about to get weird. To survive something, you first need to understand it. Earth's magnetic field is like an invisible shield, born deep inside the planet's molten iron core. As the liquid metal churns, it generates a magnetic force that stretches far into space, protecting you from deadly solar winds and cosmic radiation. Without this shield, life on Earth would be roasted by radiation, kind of like popcorn in a microwave, except you are the popcorn. Now here's the twist: Earth's magnetic field is not stable. Over millions of years, it flips. North becomes south and south becomes north. Scientists have found the evidence in hardened lava flows that froze tiny magnetic particles like compass needles pointing in the wrong direction. This is not science fiction, it is geology speaking. The last big reversal happened about 780,000 years ago, called the Bruns-Machiyama reversal. That means we are statistically overdue. But do not panic just yet. A reversal does not happen overnight like flicking a light switch. It can take thousands of years. Still, during the transition, the field weakens, and that is when things get dicey. Imagine Earth's shield full of holes, like Swiss cheese, while the sun hurls out storms of radiation. If you have ever been sunburned, picture that multiplied 1,000 times. Suddenly, sunscreen feels about as useful as a paper umbrella in a hurricane. If you think magnetic reversals are just some abstract scientific idea, think again. The rocks beneath your feet are storytellers. Across ancient lava fields in Iceland, Hawaii, and even the ocean floor, geologists have discovered frozen magnetic fingerprints. Each layer of basalt holds tiny iron crystals, locked in place the moment the lava cooled, pointing north or south depending on the field at that time. When scientists stacked those layers, they read a geological barcode showing Earth has flipped its poles hundreds of times. The last full reversal, the Bruns-Machiyama event, happened roughly 780,000 years ago. But here's the kicker: partial reversals and magnetic excursions have happened more recently. Some as close as 40,000 years ago, when Neanderthals still walked the Earth. Imagine being a caveman watching the night sky filled with auroras, not just at the poles, but glowing above your cave like a neon sign saying, "The universe is weird." What is even more fascinating is how ancient myths might connect. The Mayans spoke of cycles of creation and destruction tied to the heavens. Norse legends describe Ragnarok with skies ablaze and the world trembling. Could it be that ancient peoples witnessed strange atmospheric phenomena during weaker magnetic phases and passed them down as apocalyptic tales? We can't prove it, but it makes for one spine-tingling possibility. So when you hear that compasses have gone crazy in the past, it is not just science, it is human history laced with myth and survival. If our ancestors could make it through, maybe there is hope for you too, though their survival did not involve keeping Wi-Fi alive. Picture this: you wake up one morning, grab your phone, and your map app tells you you are floating somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Flights are grounded worldwide because navigation systems are useless. Satellites go haywire, power grids flicker like cheap Christmas lights, and suddenly the world feels less like 2025 and more like the opening scene of a survival movie. The question is, what would you do? Do you rush to the grocery store to stockpile food and water, knowing millions of other people are thinking the exact same thing? Or do you pack a bag, grab a flashlight, and head for the hills before the highways clog like arteries after a fast food binge? Day one is all about shock. People still think governments or scientists will fix things in a week, like rebooting a frozen laptop. But unlike your laptop, Earth does not have a restart button. Without reliable satellites, communication collapses. Think about it: how do you even know what is happening on the other side of the country when the news can't broadcast? Rumors spread faster than facts. Some people will believe it is the end times, others will call it a hoax, and you are stuck in the middle trying to decide whether to trust your neighbor or your instincts. Here's the funny part. Survival might look less like Hollywood action scenes and more like awkward camping trips. Suddenly, knowing how to start a fire, purify water, or cook beans without a microwave becomes life or death knowledge. If you have ever laughed at reality TV survival shows, guess what? You are now the contestant and there is no prize money at the end. Now that the shock of day one has passed, you start noticing something stranger. The planet itself feels hostile. With Earth's magnetic field weakened, cosmic and solar radiation pours in like sunlight through shattered glass. The ozone layer struggles to hold the line, and suddenly the simple act of stepping outside at noon is like volunteering for a radiation experiment. Your skin burns faster, your eyes ache, and you realize that sunscreen is no longer a summer accessory. It is survival gear. But radiation is not the only problem. Climate patterns begin to unravel. Jet streams shift unpredictably, causing freak storms in places that rarely see rain and droughts where rivers once ran strong. Imagine Los Angeles buried under relentless thunderstorms while the Midwest cracks under desert heat. Agriculture collapses because crops do not know if they are in a monsoon or a dust bowl. And when food supply chains falter, hungry crowds become more dangerous than the weather itself. Scientists warn that during past magnetic weak spots, extinction rates spiked, not because the planet exploded, but because ecosystems buckled under stress. Migrating animals lose their sense of direction. Birds crash out of the sky. Whales beach themselves on the wrong coasts. Suddenly, it is not just you fighting for survival. It is the entire web of life around you falling apart. And yet, humans adapt. Picture makeshift shelters lined with foil, not for baking potatoes but for shielding families from radiation. Imagine farmers trying to grow mushrooms in basements because the surface is too toxic for wheat or corn. It is absurd, tragic, and oddly inventive at the same time. You might laugh at the idea of basement mushroom stew, but when it is the only dinner on the table, you will eat it with gratitude, and maybe a little hot sauce if you are lucky. By now, the environment is collapsing, and so is society. The lights go out, not just in your home, but across entire cities. Power grids, already fragile, fail under the strain. Banks can't process transactions, supermarkets can't restock shelves, and suddenly cash feels as worthless as last year's lottery ticket. The social contract, the invisible glue holding civilization together, starts to peel apart. Picture the city at night, once buzzing with neon and car horns, now plunged into silence except for the occasional crack of glass as looters raid stores. You face a decision. Do you stay in the city, clinging to community and hoping order will return? Or do you flee to the wilderness with nothing but your wits and whatever you can carry? Neither choice is safe. In the city, desperation breeds violence. In the wilderness, nature does not care about your survival. It will test you with hunger, cold, and predators. Communities form quickly, some out of cooperation, others out of fear. One neighborhood builds a communal kitchen and shares resources. Another turns into a fortress, guarding bottled water like it is liquid gold. You start realizing that survival is not just about canned beans and bottled water, it is about trust. Who do you ally with? Who do you avoid? In a world without reliable communication, rumors of government bunkers or safe zones spread like wildfire. Do you follow the whispers or trust your gut? And here's where it gets darkly funny. The things you used to complain about, traffic jams, Wi-Fi outages, your boss being annoying, suddenly feel like paradise compared to dodging armed strangers. For a loaf of bread, civilization, it turns out, is fragile. But in that fragility lies a raw truth. Humans are both terrifying and ingenious under pressure. After all the chaos, sometimes the only way to cope is to laugh. Picture this. You are huddled with your neighbors in a basement, wrapped in aluminum foil like baked potatoes, and someone cracks a joke about being the world's first human burrito. In a world of fear and scarcity, humor becomes as valuable as food. Laughter, strangely enough, is survival fuel. You start noticing absurd little ironies everywhere. That camping stove you bought years ago but never used, Suddenly, it is the MVP of your household. That hipster down the street who insisted on keeping chickens in his backyard. Now he is the most popular guy in the neighborhood. And those reality shows you once mocked for teaching people how to make fire with sticks, yeah, you are trying to remember every single episode now. Even the apocalypse has its comic relief. Imagine people trading TikTok dances for canned beans, or someone holding a "will fix your Wi-Fi for food" sign on a street corner. The paradox is clear: technology fails, but human creativity does not. The worse things get, the more inventive and ridiculous solutions people create. And here's the kicker: surviving a magnetic reversal might not look like grim, dusty Mad Max scenes. It might look like communities gathering for impromptu potlucks, someone telling jokes under candlelight, or neighbors singing badly while trying to keep morale up. Humor does not erase danger, but it softens the edges. Because in the end, survival is not just about living, it is about staying human. So here we are at the end of our thought experiment. The magnetic poles have flipped, the world has bent under chaos, and somehow you have made it through. At least in this story. The truth is, magnetic reversals have happened before, and humanity's ancestors survived without electricity, smartphones, or TikTok dances. Maybe the question is not if we could survive, but how creative we would become when tested. Would we adapt with shelters underground and mushroom farms in basements? Would we rebuild society with humor, songs, and cooperation? Or would we fall apart under pressure? Letting fear decide our fate, the answer, like the magnetic field itself, is unpredictable. But here's one thing that is certain: imagining survival in the face of cosmic chaos teaches us something powerful about resilience. Now I want to hear from you. If you had to live through a polar magnetic reversal, what is the first thing you would do to prepare? Would you learn survival skills? Stock up on supplies? Or maybe just master your dad jokes to keep spirits high? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to see your answers. And do not forget, if you enjoyed this journey through science, history, and a touch of humor, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with a friend who needs a reminder that humanity is tougher and funnier than we think. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. Stay curious, stay brave, and remember, the Earth may flip its poles, but you can always keep your sense of direction.